Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. This is my second video and we are going to be making some Harry Potter sorting cakes today to see what house you belong in. So first you're going to get a yellow or a white cake mix, split it up equally into 4 bowls and dye them the house colors. If you don't know what they are red, green, blue, and yellow. This is the mold I'm going to be using. It is a silicone poop emoji mold by Rosanna Pansino. Yes, I am using a poop mold for this cake today because it is the perfect cone shape for a wizarding hat. And if by chance Harry Potter is not your deal, you could 1000% use this video as just making poop emoji cakes. That's cool too. I made this video on TikTok and a lot of people thought it was poop emoji cakes until they saw the very end. So, just split those equally into the cavities of the mold. I ended up getting 3 per color, which is what I wanted. My main goal was to at least get 2, so I was happy to get the 3. And then you're going to put them on a baking sheet and just put them in the oven according to the baking instructions. Mine was about 20 to 25 minutes. So you're going to need some brown fondant, and I use 4-inch cake round boards. And you can get these supplies at, I got it at Michael's, but most of the time you can get it at like a Walmart, any place that just has basic cake decorating supplies. And this is a close-up. I just want you guys to see that you do not have to be perfect with this. Keep in mind, the hats are supposed to be old, weathered. I mean, the sorting hat is how old? I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's meant to be wrinkly and folds and all these things. So as you can see, I'm creating kind of like a skirt-like effect. I was trying to think of how a wizarding hat might look if it was just sitting on the floor somewhere. So I just created some more texture, more ripples, ruffles, I guess. So once the cakes were done, I was hopeful, but you're going to see my soul slowly crush. I'm not going to be recommending the cake mix that I used. I had never used it before and didn't even think about it. I got a couple, see, that's a perfect cake right there. But something about the mix, it was so moist. I mean, it was a good tasting cake, but it definitely did not hold its shape very well. It just, when you're doing something that has to hold its shape, not like a sheet cake that's going to stay in a pan or something that a lot of people do. If you're doing something like this, you need a mix that's more sturdy. And I didn't realize that whatever I had picked up wasn't. So you can see they're all just falling apart. So at some point, my goal was just to get 1 of every color just for the sake of the video. Now, had I been making these cakes for a party or for somebody specifically, not just for a video, I would have just had to finesse my way through it. As you can see, I'm trying to show you what I probably would have done. I would have just grabbed as much excess pieces as I could. I probably would have grabbed some buttercream and almost make like a cake pop or use it as like a glue and just mold it to the top. And then cover it in icing and then put it straight in the fridge. That way it all has time to set. See, a perfect Hufflepuff. And this blue Ravenclaw cake you're seeing right here was the closest all of them came to surviving. It was the only one that was somewhat usable. And I'll use him later on as a how-to on how to fix your mistakes, I guess is a way to put it. So I'm going to put a little bit of icing on my cake board on top of the fondant, and that's just going to be a glue, and you're just going to stick those cakes right on top. It's that simple. If you guys need a buttercream recipe, please let me know. I always make my homemade buttercream. I never use it. I think canned frosting is blasphemy. I firmly believe if you get it from a tin, it is a sin. So if you guys need a recipe for that, let me know. I'll be happy to do one next time. So right here I'm just showing you kind of how I would fix my mistake. So you can use buttercream as a glue for almost any mistake. Thankfully, this one was not too bad, so I didn't really need a whole lot. I just needed a little bit of cement, basically, to kind of keep it in place. If yours is really falling apart and you're using a lot of buttercream, put it in the fridge 1000% because that needs to set. So right here I'm showing you my frosting bag, my icing bag. I'm trying to show you how I cuff it over my hand, and then I cut off the tip of it. You don't need a fancy piping tip or anything. If you don't have a bag like this, you can use a Ziploc bag and just cut the corner out of it. So all I'm doing is I'm just filling in that lip that's in between the cake and the cake board. Yours might not have this, but mine, when it baked, kind of created that effect, so I just wanted to fill it in. And then once you do that, you're just going to cover your cake in icing. This has no rhyme or reason to it. I just added a little swirly effect. But the main objective is just get icing on the cake, keep some moisture in, and also to stick the fondant onto it. So I'm going to use a small angular spatula, and I'm just going to smooth that icing as much as I can. Now, keep in mind, if you've never worked with fondant before, the smoother the icing is underneath, the smoother the application of the fondant. If you have big ripples or big holes or any kind of major defect in the icing, I guess is the right word, it will show in the fondant. So you want to try to get it as smooth as possible. But this is also the perfect recipe for beginners because it cannot be perfect and be fine. So I'm going to get my brown fondant, and then these are some basic fondant tools, and I also got a wooden dowel just in case. And just to show you that you can use anything in your kitchen, I'm going to use some cooking spray to roll out this fondant, mainly because my rolling pin was dirty and I couldn't find it, so I use this. You're going to drape it on top of your cake. One thing I forgot to mention, once your cakes are iced, put them in the fridge because you want them to get a little bit of that kind of like a crust feel. Let it sit in the fridge for a few minutes and then apply your fondant. Put it in the fridge first, fondant second. So I tried creating kind of like a pointed tip at the top of my cake. I was really trying to get that really pointed, wizardy, witchy look of a hat. And it didn't really work. You'll see me work on it again in a little bit. So just work your way down the fondant. Again, this is the perfect recipe for any beginner with fondant because it doesn't have to be perfect. The less perfect, the better it's going to look because it's supposed to look folded and wrinkled and not smooth and perfection like a lot of fondant cakes are meant to look. So I just cut off a little excess, created some more folds and ripples, and just try to add a little more texture and a little more character to these hats. So I took that excess and I made kind of like a cone type effect because I wanted to get a little more of a point on the top of this thing. And I know what you're thinking, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, guess what? Trust the process. I put a little bit of water on my fingers just to kind of mix it, the edges, kind of blend the edges together, and then I used my little tool. And then once I got the tip kind of pointed, I just kind of made a little curly effect. And then I started working on the face. So the face is pretty simple. You just have to make almost like an arrow type of shape, 2 straight lines that are connected in the center. And then once you create the lines, I just kind of folded, you'll see me kind of pinch my fingers, I just kind of fold the fondant together to create that sunken in fabric type of look, as opposed to just a stabbing line in the fondant. It just kind of looked a little more folded, a little more dimension, I guess. And then those are the eyeballs. Then after that I worked on the mouth. I just kind of made an indent with one of my tools and then used another tool to kind of scrape out a little bit more. And then I did that same folding motion of just kind of making it look sunken in. And that's that, and you're just going to repeat this process. Right here you're going to see I'm adding some lines and some texture to the quote-unquote fabric of the hat. And you're just going to repeat this about 1,000,000 more times until all your cakes are done. I'm going to show you guys the grand reveal of these cupcakes so you can see the inside of it, but I just want to take a second to thank anybody who watched this on TikTok. It got over 300,000 views, and I cannot believe that. I'm so happy and I'm so excited, and it means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much, and let's see these cupcakes without further ado. Okay guys, sound off below in the comments. What house do you belong in? Are you daring and brave like the Gryffindors? I know everyone loves the Gryffindors. I know, we get it. Are you intelligent and clever like the Ravenclaw? Or maybe you're loyal and kind like the Hufflepuffs? Or the always cunning and ambitious Slytherin? Sound off in the comments. I want to know what house you guys belong in, and make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave any requests in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.